And we're on Bish, week 18 of the NFL, the final regular season week. How you doing, Bish?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, week 18. It's an interesting week. A lot of still to play for. Some games, nothing to play for at all. But the biggest thing for me this week is it's all about player incentives and player milestones. So we've got players who need maybe one more sack, a few more yards to gain a little bit bonus on the contract. So yeah, I'm sort of looking at those this week.
Brilliant. Yeah, Bish, I get it. Yeah, you mentioned it last week, didn't you? Had a couple that you were entering into this week, and obviously, hopefully you nail them. I'm going to try and make my aim for this week. Try and make them games that don't mean anything a bit more interesting for the viewer. So when we're watching, I'm going to chuck a load of things at them, and hopefully make it exciting as we're watching. Because obviously, some of them literally mean nothing. They're just playing out there, and hopefully. And if they pop up on obviously TV, we don't want everyone to tune out. We want them to be in it and have it interesting every single game. But Bish, we'll get going. Obviously, the New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. Before I go into it, Bish, do you want to give us a update on Damar Hamlin?
Yeah, it's positive signs. Just for those that aren't aware, Monday night, Bills played the Broncos and he had a cardiac arrest on the field. Incredible stuff from the medical response team at the time and the staffers, and got him to hospital, and he was breathing with breathing apparatus, and but the signs have been positive. As the days have gone on, he's breathing on his own now and back talking to his teammates and friends and family. So that's great news, and hopefully he can make a full recovery. But yeah, scary scenes, but it just shows, how great the people dealt with it, and hopefully it can remain positive, and it can be back and maybe not out on the field, but whatever, at least he's healthy.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. When I was watching it, the response to it all, and the response, I think, since the last couple of days, it's been phenomenal. And they've raised millions for his charity. They've done loads. They've all come together. So I think it shows how strong the league is, how together everyone is, and it's nice seeing it. Some of them moments where it makes the world feel a better place when you see it, don't they? When everyone comes together like that. So, happy for Damar, and hopefully he keeps going well in his recovery. But Bish, we'll get into the game. We've got the Buffalo Bills obviously against the Patriots. As I said, the Bills are -7. I got for this game. The Patriots +7, obviously, and the over/under is 43.5. Well, how do you think the Bills will react to Damar Hamlin? Bish, do you think them winning or losing?
I think just with obviously what we spoke about, the positive news, I think it's a big thing for them, and they'll rally around and know that obviously this one's for their brother, out on the field. So, and also it has massive implications on not only the number 1 seed that the Bills are fighting for, but also the number 7 seed. The last place to get in the playoffs that the Patriots currently hold, and they can clinch this with a win. Or it's funny, there's a lot going on here, so you have to stick with us, listeners. But basically, the Patriots can clinch the last playoff spot in the AFC with a win, and they're straight in. Or if they lose, they need the Dolphins and the Steelers both to lose, and the Jags to win. So it's very, very complicated. But just in the terms of this game, how I see it going, they're both fairly good against the run, both top 6 defenses against the run. But I just think on the other end, Josh Allen and what he does in the passing game, I think that'll be the edge here. I think that they're ranked 7th in passing yards per game, and as I've mentioned before, I just don't feel the Patriots have enough points in them to be able to keep up if the Bills are firing. Obviously it's been a massive emotional week for them, as we've mentioned, but I think they'll come together and deliver here. So I like the Bills -7.5. Over/under. It's divisional games. We've spoke before. They're fairly close. I'll take the under, but I wouldn't be surprised if it went over.
Yeah, it's obviously, like you said, it's huge for playoff implications, and even for the Bills. As I was doing my research, it scared me because I was going to go Bills all day. Obviously, they've got the storyline, they've got playing for Demar, they've got getting the number 1 seed, but Patriots arguably have more on the line here. It's win or lose, but in the playoffs, there is certain ways where it can all work out. But it probably will be if they win, they're in. If they're out, if they lose, they're probably out. That's probably basically. Obviously, if others go their way, they can just make it. But that's the way they'll be seeing it in the head. So that does give them extra motivation. When they played last this season, though, Bish, the Bills beat them 24-10. So obviously that's more than -7, and I think Bills have been looking just as strong. The defense are just as strong. They're inconsistent on offense, aren't they? I think if Josh Allen if he switched on for a game, you put every bet on the world for his player props, for everything, because you know he's just no explode. But then sometimes he has been off this season, Bish, and maybe in this big game, I don't know how many huge games have we seen Josh Allen in that has a bit of pressure to him. I don't know. But I think for the storyline, I'm with you. I've got Bills -7. I think he will show out. I just can't. Similar to you, to be fair, I'm probably repeating a bit here, but I can't see the Patriots scoring that many points. I think against good defenses, Patriots struggle like anything. And you can score on them. They've got brilliant run defense, Patriots, but you can score on them. So I've got Bills -7 here, Bish, same as you. That over-under, if anything, I'd take the under. I think Patriots will clamp down. It will be a tight game. But I think Bills have got an extra touchdown in them compared to the Patriots. I can't see Patriots pulling off a big scoring game here. I think they're going to keep it nice and slow and hopefully grind out a win. But I think Bills will have, as you said, too much. -7, Bish. We're on it together. Next game, Bish. The follow-on from the one we just talked about, the New York Jets v the Miami Dolphins. The Jets are +3 in this one. Obviously, Dolphins' favourite -3. That's changed. So if viewers are watching it, I think it's fluctuating with different news on who's playing, which players are on. And the over-under is quite a small 37 points, Bish, I got. Might have changed now recently on recent news, but yeah, take us through what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is a funny one. It has changed a lot. When I reviewed it early in the week, I was all over this because it was actually Miami +1. You know, on the basis that they were down to their third string quarterback, Skylar Thompson.
Yeah.
And the Jets had, everyone's favourite Mike White in there slinging it. But it's changed now. It's actually Skylar Thompson for the Dolphins, and it's Joe Flacco for the Jets. So it's sort of third string quarterback. So that's swung, and it's now the Dolphins -3. And again, it's another massive game for the Dolphins. They're trying to get in that 7 spot. They lost to the Patriots last week, which kicked them out. So they need a win this week and a Patriots loss as well. And the big matchup I like in this one is the wide receivers for the Dolphins. You got Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill against the cornerbacks for the Jets in Sauce Gardner, who's having an unbelievable rookie season, and DJ Reed. I think it'll be an exceptional matchup. Just speed all over the field, and the Jets DBs are very capable of limiting Hill and Waddle here. But saying that, I do like the Dolphins because they've got something to play for. The Jets, the season's done. They're down to the third string quarterback. Yeah, they've lost the last 5. Along with the Dolphins, but I just think, like we talk about, the Dolphins have got something to play for. The coach will have them fired up for this one. I was all over them +1. I'm still on them -3. I still think they're good enough. The overs has dropped a little bit to 30. It's 37, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, it's a tough. I just think there's points in them. I said the speed all over the field. One mistake. And I think Hill or Waddle are quite capable of going the distance. So I'd probably look at the overs. And just one incentive player-wise, Carl Lawson for the Jets, he needs 1 sack, which will take him to 8 on the year, for a $600,000 bonus. So the Dolphins gave up 2 sacks last week, so I'm sure he'll be fired up for this one, getting after the quarterback. But I'm with the Dolphins -3 here.
Is that one done a bit? I might steal a best bet from you, Bish. Actually, you pulled off. that seems with the Dolphins O line not being that good, and then Skylar Thompson maybe holding the ball a bit more. Obviously, again, not the most experienced or top quality quarterback out there. I like that, Bish. I do like that. But yeah, similar to you, Bish, innit? I apologise. I think we've got quite similar notes. I literally have good the cornerbacks versus the wide receivers. But one of my best bets, the odds have not come out yet. But I reckon it'll have decent odds. I've got the cheater getting a touchdown here, Bish. I think he's that big game player. I think if you look at his, if you just look throughout his whole history of playing so far, the Super Bowl when the Chiefs won, Tyreek come up with a massive play. He not the touchdown, come up with a massive play. He always seems to be there. And however good Sauce Gardner is, which I believe he is the real deal, he's the man. But you can't stop Tyreek. I do not believe he can stop Tyreek in my heart. If he does, Bish, I'll hold my hat. What's the famous thing? I'll eat my hat. I don't think he'll stop Tyreek here, Bish, and I think he'll get a touchdown. He's that big game player, and I think they'll need him. I think he'll be open. Skylar Thompson's not going to chuck to many people who are guarded. You know what I mean? Guarded. They've got. It's risky play. You'll play safe, and I think Tyreek will get open once or twice for a big game touchdown.
I'll just come in there, Joe, with a live update. The actual price on Tyreek Hill anytime is 2.4 decimal, so I think that's around, is it 6 to 4 fractions? I'm not sure, but it's well over evens. So yeah,
I'm taking that, Bish. Yeah, I'm taking it. Like I said, maybe one a bit better odds, but I've got it on. Obviously, another one is Mostert, Wilson, been up and down this season, haven't they? They've had some unbelievable games because they're both that explosive, where they shock your screen. They're on every 5 minutes making a big play. I just don't think they're very downhill runners, are they? They're not that tough runner who's going to make 4 or 5 yards every run, like a Derrick Henry type and a G Harris type. If there's space, they'll take it, but if there's not, they'll struggle. So that's what worries me about taking the Dolphins here, Bish. I don't know if that rush, which they'll probably need with Skylar Thompson, obviously leading the quarterback room there. So what do you think to that, Bish? What's your opinion on the two running backs for this?
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think that, like you said, they're going to have to lean on the run a bit more with Skylar Thompson in there. But I just had a look at that, and the Jets' last 2 games against the run, they've given up 198 yards against Seattle and 147 against the Jags.
Oh well, I'm not saying.
Just on Mostert as well. You know, when Jeff Wilson was out, I think about 3 weeks ago, he rushed for 136 against the Bills. He's been a bit quiet the last 2 games, and they are 2 very good players. But I think that sometimes that 1-2 punch, I think it hinders these 2. I think one back is the go here, just to get that momentum and timing. But you know, we don't know how it's going to play out. But I agree with you. I think that'll be the key. If they can run the ball, then I think this is a bit easier than
That'd be probably what you're watching out for on the highlights. If you see big rushes from Mostert, from Wilson, you'll probably think the game's going one way, won't you? And one way only, because if they don't stop the run, they're not going to be able to stop many other places. They'll keep it rolling. And yeah, you take Miami. It's not one of my best bets, Bish. I'm a bit nervous, but we'll see. We'll see on this one. But it should be a great game, to be fair. Jets have got pride on the line after just losing out on the playoffs. Dolphins are going for the playoffs. Should be a good one. Next game, Bish, we've got the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are -2.5 favourites for this game, Bish. The over-under is 40. Where have you got? You're getting your notes ready. Where have you got this one, Bish? I'm expecting big things.
Yeah, I've just got my notes ready, and I'm going to take you back maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and I mentioned
Right.
Mike Tomlin, 15 consecutive winning seasons, and they're currently sat at 8-8. And this is the game. This is the one.
Yeah.
They started 2-6 on the season, putting a rookie quarterback. You know, a lot were saying it's over, and they've pulled it back, and now they're one game off the playoffs again. They need things to happen for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they need to win. They need the Dolphins and the Patriots both to lose for them to make the playoffs. But obviously, a win gives them that winning season. And now I see this one. I see it. Two teams that like to run the ball, are very possession based. We've talked about it a lot in the Browns, and it's for me. Although I'm obviously, you know, I'm a big passionate overs fan. This one just screams unders. Unders to me. You know, the Steelers at the 7th against the run. You know, I think some of the last games I picked out, they only gave up 50 rushing yards to Josh Jacobs, who was having a great season. They gave 21 rushing yards to the entire Carolina Panthers, and the one big game that they did give up was 90 to J.K. Dobbins recently, but relatively they're good against the run. And actually the Browns, a development, Jadeveon Clown is actually got sent home. You know, as we said this week, there's not much riding on some teams, and he sort of said that 95% he won't be at the Browns next year. So he's just, you know, he's not playing this game basically. So yeah, it's one of those. But you know, we know with the Browns, they run the ball. Nick Chubb, hell of a runner, and I think they're a team that I'll be looking at for next year, because I think they've got everything there that they need to be successful in a good running game. And then Sean Watson and Amari Cooper, who seem to have built up a bit of a partnership. But for me, I'm going to lean the Steelers just because of that record and obviously what's on the line for them. So Steelers, and yeah, the unders. Steelers and the unders here.
Bish, this is one of our best bets games. Obviously, I mentioned a game that, well, it does have something on the line. Obviously, 2 games, which is possible Dolphins and Patriots could both lose, but the chances aren't incredibly, obviously, high on them both losing. But yeah, I'm going to try and make this game as interesting as possible. If it's not going very exciting, let's say the Dolphins are blowing it out, there won't be much interest, but they will after this, because the Pittsburgh Steelers at -2.5 is my best bet all day long, Bish. And I've got to highlight a player, and I've been watching my videos and doing my research, and his name kept coming up and up again. And obviously, it's a well-known name, but TJ Watt, Bish. Without TJ Watt on their team, Bish, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-6 on the season. With them, obviously, 7-2 on the season. So that's how important TJ is. Obviously, getting to the quarterback, creating that quarterback pressure, but also helping in the run game. I think he helps everywhere, Bish. Is that one of them players, and he that completely dominates on defense. And I think, obviously, without him, you can see how much they struggle. 1 win without him, 7 with him. That's a massive differential for one player. Obviously, there's probably more going into it than that, but still, yeah, TJ Watt, what an amazing player. So I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers -2.5 and TJ Watt to record over 1.5 sacks in this game, Bish. I think I saw some doubt on him last week or the week before about him making the Pro Bowl, because obviously he's been injured, he's not been around, he's missed obviously 7 games there. I think he'll prove why he is one of the best, and why he's in the Pro Bowl, and there'll be no argument after this game. He's there. His good friend Mike Tomlin is getting that 9-8. Bish, you called this how many weeks ago? I literally wrote down Bish nailed it. Plus 500. 4 weeks ago, I think you first brought this stat up, Bish, and obviously at the time I thought, why are you bringing this up, Bish? It's a bit like it's surely not going to come true. You know what I mean? You had faith in them all the way, and you've nailed it. And I think you will nail it, because I can't see Cleveland doing well here. I think Deshaun's still getting to terms with things. He had his first good game last week, didn't he? 3 touchdowns, but still in terms of yardage and actual play. He wasn't amazing. He just threw for 3 touchdowns, which is obviously a big improvement on where he was at. But still, he's still got a long way to go. Chubb did run all over Pittsburgh in the last game in the earlier on in the season. But with the rivalry, I think the Cleveland Browns have had them recently. But I think Pittsburgh coming for revenge after a couple of tough losses to them. And yeah, I think I've got Pittsburgh all day long here, Bish. That's a joke for you.
There's just 2 milestones in this game as well. I was just spoke about Nick Chubb there. Nick Chubb needs 52 rushing yards for 1,500 on the season, and I think that'll be his best mark in his career if he can do that. And on the other side, Najee Harris needs 46 rushing yards to hit 1K. So yeah, there's a couple. It just shows that they run the ball a lot, these 2 teams.
Yeah. Based on that, actually, I'll just. What do you think to obviously Kareem Hunt for next year? Do you think he'll stay? Do you think he'll leave? Where do you think that's going to end up?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think he's good enough to be a starting running back in the league. I'm not sure where the Browns are at with everyone else on the team, but if I was the Browns, I'd be looking to keep him because, as we've talked about now, Nick Chubb is unbelievable. To have Kareem Hunt as his potentially on the ground is great as well, but he's also a massive threat in the passing game.
Yeah.
And now with a quarterback of Deshaun Watson's ability, I think that passing game running back takes them over the edge of they're not an average team anymore. I don't think. I think they're pushing to be a very good team next year. So yeah, I think he's good enough to start in the league, but it's I suppose it all comes down to money, doesn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah. So they've not, obviously, like you said, they've not really been using him all that much compared to previous years. I watched the NFL Top 100 on YouTube. I watched the Nick Chubb one, and a lot of them were saying if they give Nick Chubb the out and out number 1 role in the team, you'll see the best running back in the league. A lot of the players were saying it, and obviously at the time he never got his chance. This season he has, and he's proved it. He's proved every single one of them players right, haven't they? What a season he's had. So you've probably got to chuck. I'd love to see that. I wish the player prop was out already for Nick Chubb's rushing yards, but you'd take the over.
Nick Chubb's is out. This is one of the rare games that is. It's 52.5 Nick Chubb's sitting at the minute. But the thing with this, that number screams to get on it, but because the Browns have nothing to play for, you don't. It's one of those where, can we be sure that he plays a full game? Really, do they want to look at some younger running backs? Do they want to give Kareem Hunt a bit of time to try and show him, we're playing you, we want to keep you, sort of thing. So it's a bit in the unknown, but most weeks Nick Chubb absolutely kills that line.
Bish, I'm adding to my best bet. You've had
sticking it in.
You've added to that. Yeah, I'm adding that to my best bet because I think whether he will or not, the Pittsburgh Steelers, their one negative, on defense is the rush. They're not amazing at stopping it. Obviously, at other parts, they're phenomenal, but they're not amazing at stopping the rush, Bish. And he run for, I wish I wrote it down now, but I think it was 172 yards in the last. It was something ridiculous against Pittsburgh earlier on in the season. So I'm all over that, Bish. I think he'll hit that 52 marker, get his incentive, and then they'll get him off. I think that will be, you'll see him on, get the 50 plus yards that he needs to hit the incentive, and then you won't see him again. But will he get that? 100%. So we've got a little bet builder for my best bet there. TJ Watt sacks, Pittsburgh Steelers -2.5, and whatever that rushing yard is on Nick Chubb, I'm all over it, Bish. You've done it for me.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, Bish. Next game. Another one with no playoff implications because one of them's just got in, one of them's completely out. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons, Bish, I believe. Bucks are Bucks are +4. Falcons are actually favourites on this game, Bish, -4. The over/under is 40.5. Where do you see this going? Because that's surprising to me, Bish.
Yeah, it's surprising. Again, it's another one of those with the Bucks. They're already in, nothing to play for. Do they play how long do they play the starters? I've seen from their press release stuff that the starters are playing. So again, it's how long do they play? In this one, I've looked at Tom Brady needs 390 passing yards to reach 5,000 on the season. So I'm sure he'll be coming out all guns blazing first half to trying to get that. You know, I think Mike Evans went for 200 yards last week, so I'm sure he'll be trying to throw to him. And a popular man of yours, Tyler Algier,
yeah,
you know, he needs 100 yards for 1,000 rushing yards on the season for a rookie, which is pretty incredible in that team. He's only hit 100 yards once this year against the Saints. He hit 139, but since Ridder's been the quarterback, he's averaging 98 yards, so he's fairly close on that one. If I was betting on this one, which I'm probably staying away, as I said, because you don't know what the books are doing, but I'd be at Bucks plus 4.5 or plus 4 if it is plus 4. But yeah, that's it seems a big number to give away to a Tampa side, to a Tom Brady side. But one bet that I will be getting on, and unfortunately the line isn't out, but I will be getting on that Algier rushing yards over as a prop, because I just think you know, the Falcons will be they run the ball anyway, but in the last two games they've give Algier 38 carries for 157 yards. So I think they're going to keep feeding him. You know, as an organisation, you want your rookie players to be hitting these milestones. So I think that's it's a shame it's not out, because it would be my best bet, but I'm reluctant to give it as a best bet without knowing the line. But yeah, I'll definitely be on that.
Bish, I've not got many things right this season. We've relied on you. We've relied on Tag's touchdown treble the past 2 weeks. That's one thing I'm happy I called earlier on for viewers that watch us and follow us. I did call Tyler Algier how many weeks? I think that was one of our first ever weeks. I said, watch out for this lad. He's brilliant. He's explosive. I saw enough of him. He was getting doubted. And I'm happy I got one call right, Bish. I'm going to rest on my feet on the Tyler Algier early season call. But yeah, same as you, Bish. I've got Tom Brady going nuts this game. Atlanta Falcons are bottom 5 against wideouts. So if they do start Godwin, if they do start Mike Evans, I think Brady's going to go crazy here, Bish. Last week, Brady, for the first time all season, started throwing the deep ball, threw it effectively, as you said, to Mike Evans. That connection's not been going well this season yet, but they nailed it last week, Bish. And if you can see it happening again this week, especially obviously against that quite bad Atlanta defense, obviously, especially against the wideouts. It's written in the stars, this one, I think, Bish. Brady has never had a 500 or lower season. I don't think he's going to let that happen. I don't think he's going to let that happen this season. I think he's going to go crazy. I think they're going to Bucks going to get out to a big lead. One of them, I think, obviously you can never tell, because Falcons might come out hungry, try do really well and slow it down. But I think Brady and the Bucks are good enough to get out to a big lead here. I think you can see 14, 21 points early on the board, maybe before the first half, and then they'll take them off, and then whatever happens. But I think chances are here you'll see Brady, like you said, try to get close to that yardage and go, not let that 500 season happen, Bish. So I've got any player props you've got for Brady, I'm on it. Unless it's something crazy like 300, 400. So I'm putting a caveat on one of my best bets. Bish, can you give us, is there a live update on Brady?
I want to look now. There wasn't before. No, there's nothing on this game.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a bit annoying, but yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Like I said last, but whatever it is, over 2.5 touchdowns, over 280. I'll put my cap at this 280 / 300. 300 would be the line where I'm thinking about it, but I think he's going to go mad here, Bish. Tyler Algier, you've kind of stole my point, and Tyler Algier, you've kind of stole my number. I've got loads of notes. No, it's all right. I've got my notes on Algier, but yeah, no, brilliant. Same as you. I'm just happy he's doing well. Happy I've got the call right. But yeah, I'm all over Tampa Bay +4, and I've got any player prop with Tom Brady. For my best bet, that this will be a best bet when it comes out. I'll go through Brady. So be a bit of a delay on my best bet with Brady. But if you have a bit of patience with me over the next day, hopefully half a day, it should be out by tonight. Hopefully, Bish, would you say?
Yeah, I should imagine so. Yeah.
So hopefully, I'll get, as soon as it comes out, I'll be on it and I'll get it, and we'll get it tweeted out for everyone, because I don't think he misses this game. All right, next one, Bish. Minnesota bite again, another one that not as much to play for. I think Minnesota will be going for position in the playoffs, but Minnesota versus the Chicago Bears. Minnesota -5.5 favourites, and the over/under is 42.5. Bish, that might be a bit enticing to you, I think.
Yeah, I've looked at this one, and they're currently the number 2 seed, but they're only one game back from Eagles, and the Eagles have been stuttering the last few weeks. So they'll have an eye of winning this big, and then sort of seeing if the Eagles can slip up. But it's hard to say anything about the Bears winning this game. I know you've really fancied them last week, but this week Justin Fields is out. They've got Nathan Peterman in there. It's just hard to see anything that they can do, really. I mean, the Vikings, Justin Jefferson is 194 receiving yards away from breaking the single season record that's set by Calvin Johnson of 1,964. So it's going to take a huge game from him to break that. But it's there because he got 154 yards against him in the previous game. So and obviously that meant something. So the Bears obviously nothing to play for. Well, I say nothing to play for. They're actually still in the hunt for the number 1 spot here. They've only won
yeah.
So technically they do have something to play for. Not on the field playing well. So that's an interesting one. And another incentive here for another defensive man. Zadarius Smith needs 1 sack for 750k bonus. So he's in there against a backup quarterback. I'm sure he'll be relishing that. So yeah, it's hard to see past the Vikings here. The over/under, it's a tough one. We know the Vikings can score points, and we know the league points, but against the Bears, Nathan Peterman. Me, I like to lean the over, so I'll lean the over. Yeah, it'd be the Vikings definitely here, and then a small lean on the over.
Bish, these player props are unbelievable. Can we make a little thing for the viewers, Bish, with all your player props for the week?
Yeah,
because it's there. I think if you remember on previous seasons, they're almost guaranteed bets. That Justin Jefferson one isn't at all, because that is very tough, and it will require brilliant. But a lot of these are guaranteed bets. I remember the Bucks when Tom Brady the Super Bowl winning season with Gronkowski, and they literally threw to Gronk every single game in the last game of the season. I remember watching it, the rest regular season game, just kept throwing to him so he could hit his regular season. I think Brady hit. Give Leonard Fournette, he give Gronk, he give about 3 players as it were coming on. They were like, he's got 500 grand. It were funny to watch because the announcers were loving it. So they do listen to these incentives. I have teammates, they help each other out here. So they are actually more important than what even someone who, I think they're very important to look at, and especially for your own bets, you can guarantee yourself some money. The odds obviously will reflect what we're saying here, but to an extent, Bish, some of them should be guaranteed wins, shouldn't they? So might be some easy money to be made this week, Bish. But yeah, same as you. Looking at Minnesota, Bish, Chicago Bears have got loads to play for. I shouldn't have said that. They've got the number 1 pick to play for, which is huge for a franchise. I remember who was it last year, Bish? I apologise. I should remember off the top of my head that won the last game of the season, so they lost out on, and then Trevor Lawrence, and then the Jags ended up getting the number 1 seed. I can't. Yeah, but so it were mental. So I don't think they'll let that happen. I think they'll pull out all the stops, i.e., resting Justin Fields random. You know what I mean? They're pulling out the stops here to try let themselves get this number 1 pick. Minnesota, they're going to throw every single ball to Justin Jefferson, give him the best shot possible at getting this. Like I said, they've got a bit to play for, but I think they'll think that if they do try throw every ball to Justin, they'll still probably get the win in this game. So I think they're going to go to him every single time, and you'll see a monster game from Jefferson. Whether he hits that number, different question in it, Bish. But I think he'll have a monster game here. I can't see Chicago Bears stopping him at all. They're not good against wide receivers anyway. So I imagine with resting a few, with lack of motivation, I can't see them stopping the best wide receiver in the league, Bish. So yeah, I'm all over -5.5 Bish here, and you've got to say Justin Jefferson, whatever yardage, you've probably got to have a fun punt on it anyway to cheer him on for the regular season record, haven't you? Just so you've got extra. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant. Nice and simple, that one, I think, innit? But sorry, Bish, I've missed out something. I apologise. In America, surprisingly, the line is +-1. So that's the one thing that scared me, because I watched that and I went, but that might have been before Fields got announced as not starting, so I might be a bit behind that, Bish. But I was looking at my lines and looking at my websites that I read, and obviously I did my own betting account, and then it were different. So I panicked a bit there, because America, they are normally a lot better in America than they are in England at the old lines. So something to maybe keep in mind, but that might be outdated news. I don't know, Bish.
No, it did start. That's what it started at when Fields was in. Because as we've talked about the Vikings, are they for real? They're 12-4.
Yeah,
they've actually broke a record. They've had 11 wins of less than one score. So they're winning, but they're winning just. Yeah. We sort of spoke about the defense, because that's probably been their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that was where that line came from. Obviously, with Fields out, it's massively in the Vikings' favour.
Got you. No, all good then. Yeah, it's Minnesota, Bish. You've been saying they're a fake team. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're not behind them. I'll say. Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was saying that they're great to watch. Obviously, you're great offensive pieces, but in the playoffs, it's that adage: defense wins championships, and the defense is nowhere to be seen.
I'll leave it on that. Good statement to finish on. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals, Bish. The Bengals are -9 favourites here, Bish. Actually, quite a big one. The over/under on this game is 39.5. Where have you got it going here?
So this is a funny one as well. So obviously the sort of implications of the Damar Hamlin incident and that game being cancelled. Now it's done on winning percentage instead of your winning record. So this is a big game here. If the Ravens can pull a win off in this one, then in the playoffs, if these two play, it's actually a coin flip for home field advantage. So because there'd be 1-1 split in the head-to-head for the division. So it's a big game. But I've actually seen, obviously there's still no Lamar Jackson for the Ravens. He's out, and I actually saw yesterday that Tyler Huntley, their backup quarterback, is questionable for this game, carrying a few knocks. So I think that possibly that's why the line swung. Well, is so big. And then looking at the Bengals, obviously they've still got a lot to play for. Now this winning percentage is how the seeds will be set. They're chasing the Chiefs. They need a Chiefs loss. But they looked good for the first 10 minutes against the Bills on Monday night. How that incident affects them, obviously we don't know as well. But as we spoke about, it's great news that Damar Hamlin's positive signs and is improving day on day. But just looking at it, I just think the Bengals, they're peaking at a bit similar to last year. They're peaking at the right time, and personally, I just think they look better than last year. I'm not sure the O-line has sorted itself out, but I just think Burrow's getting rid of the ball a lot quicker. He's they're sort of dinking and dunking down the field. It's not massive plays, 30, 40 yard passes to Higgins and Chase. It's just little 5 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, and they're actually ranked second in time of possession. So that just shows, that they're taking the time with the ball, but they're very effective, I think. And again, as we've spoke about with the Ravens, I just can't see them keeping up with the Bengals. I think it'll be a tight affair in terms of early on, and maybe because it's a divisional game and there's a lot riding on it. But I just think the Bengals will have enough to push away. The previous result was 19-17 to the Bengals, but I think this will be a bigger margin here. So yeah, the Bengals. I was actually at first. The line was -7. And I was actually looking at the Ravens there. Could they keep it tight? But with that Huntley news, he doesn't play. I think it's a bit one-sided here, and it's a big margin, -9. But if no Huntley, I'd be Bengals -9. And I did have unders written down. I'll probably stick to the unders, but we know. Yeah, I won't be surprised if the Bengals sort of blew them out here.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bish. Actually, I think exactly. I've got this is a questionable best bet. I didn't know whether to chuck it in my best bet, but I'm pretty confident Bengals will do pretty well here. -9, like you said, a bit scary. Famously this season, when there is a large margin in the handicap, the lesser team, the underdog normally wins. Well, not normally wins the handicap. It's been like a running thing on it, I think.
Yeah.
What did I say a couple of weeks ago? And I think that's even got worse now, Bish, actually, from what I saw. But I can't. Something like if you had £1,000 on all the unders of over -7+ or something like that, you'd be in a lot of money for the if you bet the underdogs in them games. So something to think about. That's something to sway you the other way. But again, I'm with you, Bish. I'm pretty confident here. Bengals will get it done. Mixon's been fantastic all season. Can see him getting a touchdown here. Can see a couple of people getting a touchdown. Like you said, Chase is seen as their number one, but Higgins is actually on for a 1,000+ yard season. He's done that. Chase has done very well. And then Tyler Boyd's also hit 700 yards. So it just shows it's a well-rounded team. They've got P. Ryan as well. The offense is stacked. If they had another good offensive lineman this year, I'd have them all over to win the Super Bowl. They are my favourites going into it. I'll say it now. I think I've got them. But yeah, the offense is incredible. But they've actually made the name this year, actually on the defense as well, Bish. So that would change from last year. I think they had a couple. They had Eli Apple. They had a couple of noticeable names last year that played well, but they've upgraded this year and they're on fire both sides of the ball. And I've said it week on week. The team that hits the form later on in the season normally does well in the playoffs. So I've got them all over. Yeah, we're on, Bish. Nice and simple again. Next one, Bish, another one with, again, loads to play for, but in the opposite way of what we think. The Houston Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts. The battle for a potential number one pick again, Bish, and for the Colts to get, hopefully, the number 2 pick or the number 3. They want a worst pick possible. They've had a bad season. They put it's a battle. I can't see it going any other way, Bish. Sorry, I'll let you go. But yeah, Colts are -2.5 favourites. Over unders 38, Bish. Take us away on this interesting game.
The first word I put on my pad for this game was awful. Yeah, both. Saying that though, the Texans they've actually been fun to watch the last few weeks, haven't they? The things they're throwing it about, and it's one of those games where, as we said, the Texans need to lose, and I can just see them winning it. Honestly, I can. You talk about it. A team in prime position and they mess it up by winning, which it just sounds wrong, doesn't it? It just sounds wrong. But I can actually see. I actually fancy the Texans +2.5 here. But one thing I'm looking at in this game is Zach Moss rushing yards, and this would have been a best bet for me. And I keep saying it, the lines are out, so it's hard to say without knowing the line. But we know the Texans are awful against the run. They're ranked dead last in the league against the run. And the Colts, one thing they do, although Jonathan Taylor's now an injured reserve, they've kept that up. They run the ball well. Their O-line is fairly decent, against in terms of running the ball. They run the ball well. The coach, Jeff Saturday, was a lineman. They run the ball well. And Zach Moss in his last 3 games he's ran for 74 yards, 65 yards, and 81 yards. And in a team that's not scoring any points and is playing with, not the best of quarterbacks, I think that's pretty impressive what he's been doing. So I'm looking at that, and he faces another quarterback. There's Sam Ellinger playing now, so I think that's their 3rd quarterback in 3 or 4 weeks. So he's in there. Just a milestone for this one. Michael Pittman Jr., the wide receiver for the Colts, is 105 yards short of 1,000 receiving yards, which, as we've said, in this team this year, that's a pretty remarkable effort with a quarterback throwing him. And he'll actually back-to-back seasons for him with 1,000 yards. So I'm hoping he can hit that because, I like him as a player. I think a lot of people expected big things from him this year, and I think he's just been let down by the team, really. So, but for this one, yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah, I can just see the Texans winning, which obviously hurt them in the long run. So yeah, Texans plus 2.5. But my big one here is Zach Moss rushing yards. So I'll be looking at that.
I've actually got a fun one, Bish. I don't know if it's going to make my best bet, but I've got Zach Moss and Deion Jackson double touchdown. I think they can both get a touchdown here. Deion Jackson's very good in the pass catching realm for the Colts of running backs. He's been there. Who was it last year? He got traded, didn't he? Yeah, I chucked. He was the Naheem Hines of last year. He's been good. He looks explosive. He's quite small, so obviously that's why he's a pass catching back rather than a downhill runner. But Zach Moss actually does fit that downhill runner pretty well. I might have a touchdown double here on these two, Bish. Like I said, I don't think it'd be a best bet because bit risky, and you know what I mean, both teams might not even be trying to score here. They might not be, you know what I mean, they might not put much emphasis on the game at all. But if they do, and Colts go for a nice win to finish the season, I've got both of them winning. I think it was Detroit last year, Bish, was it? Was it Detroit last year that lost the number 1 pick?
Yeah, they weren't very good last year, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, and they lost the number 1 pick, and I think, I can't see Texans making the same mistake here, Bish. I agree with, like you said, it's written in the stars with how the season's been, but I can't see them making the same mistake. I think the Colts will run the ball. It'd be the worst game possibly ever to watch, but I think there'll be 2 touchdowns, and I think it'll be both running backs who we don't know what to get the touchdowns here, Bish. They did tie in week 1. That was obviously a indication of what was going to happen for both teams this season. So just makes it, a little fun one for you there. But no, I've got the Colts winning this. In week 1, it was 20 points, 20 points. So the over-under maybe. But I don't think so. I would never even look at that. But yeah, them two, Bish, for my interesting bet of the day to make the game a bit more interesting for the viewer.
Yeah.
I can't come up with much else. Next game, Bish, we've got the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are -3.5 favourites, and the over-under is 42, Bish. Where have you got this game?
Yeah, both teams out of the playoffs. Not much to play for. Just divisional rivalry. The Saints have been playing well recently. Obviously, a big win last week against the Eagles to try and keep their playoff hopes alive, but didn't quite work for them. So for this one, I like the Saints -3.5 here. Again, it's hard to know what's going on with these two teams with nothing to play for. But milestone alert here: DJ Moore. He needs 152 receiving yards to reach 1,000 on the season, and he's been the top targets and yards for the receivers for the Panthers for the last 3 weeks. So for this one, for me, this is all about wide receivers here for me. And on the other side, we've talked about Olave quite a bit, but Rashid Rashad or I've butchered his name, but anyway, Rashid. He's a massive downfield threat, and the Carolina Panthers have given up a hell of a lot of yards to wide receivers in the last few weeks. We're 200 last week to Mike Evans, 108, 98, and 95. So I'm looking at Olave. Obviously, is probably the main man, but I think in terms of explosive one-off players, Rashid is a big option here for overs on his yardage. So for me, the main thing out of this game, I'll be looking at DJ Moore receiving yards on the overs. And I'd also be looking at Shahid's overs as well. I'll take the Saints -3.5 just to pick a team. And I think this is one that could possibly, with nothing to play for, I think we could see some points in this one. So I'm looking at the overs as well.
Yeah. I'm with you, Bish. Exactly the same. Actually, as I'm looking through it, this might be one of my best bets, but I've got New Orleans Saints all over this one, Bish, to be honest, at -3.5. They've held the last 7 opponents, I believe, to 21 points or lower. And that a lot of that was actually without Lattimore in. He come back last week, got an interception. I think now he's back again. I think Saints will want Nick to end the season on a high. Like I said, probably disappointed they're not making the playoffs. But I've got Saints all over this one. I think to give some credit to Carolina, since they've put Darnold in, they look a different team, don't they? They look good. They look like what we were hoping to see from the start of the season. Maybe Darnold should have been in from the start. I think I remember in my first week, Bish, if I want to chuck in another claim here, I think I mentioned Darnold and how I actually like. I think I remember I like watching Darnold, and I think he's had a terrible few seasons with the Jets. Obviously, how the Jets treated him, they give him no players. They did a terrible job running it. Did a terrible job everywhere except. And then I thought Darnold did a good job. But obviously, they needed a restart. And then for Carolina, I think he's shown how good he can be. So yeah, all credit. Just a quick shout out to Sam Darnold there. But yeah, no, I've got the Saints in this one. I struggle to see Carolina getting loads of points. DJ Moore's obviously phenomenal. They'll probably just be throwing to him a lot. They've got nothing. They're not even playing really for a pick here, are they? They're not playing for a low pick. They're not playing for anywhere close to playoffs. I think they'll just throw it to DJ Moore and whoever else has any incentives going on. But yeah, I think they're all over Moore there. He'll probably get close to 100, 150, but I've got the Saints controlling the rest of the game here and pulling off a win. All right, Bish, that ends the 6 o'clock slate of things, but we've got another game because it's got so much implications for the playoffs, Bish. Probably my game of the weekend. It won't be the best to watch. I don't think either of the teams really blow my brain when I'm watching them. I'm not buzzing, even though the quarterback for one of the teams has been exceptional. It's been nice to see. But we've got the Tennessee Titans, Bish, versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville are -6.5 in this playoff decider, Bish, and the over/under is 40. Give us your thoughts on this amazing game, Bish.
It's a huge game, isn't it? And so it'll be early hours of Sunday morning for this one. So it's 2 double-header on the America Saturday evening. So yeah, it's a massive game, playoff implications, winner takes all in the AFC South here. So I think looking at it, the Jags are, as you've said, Trevor Lawrence, they're fun. As another fun team to watch. He's slinging it out there. I think both wide receivers in this game have incentives as well. Zay Jones, and I've forgotten off the top of my head the other one, but yeah, basically they need, I think, under 100 yards each for some cash incentives as well. So I'm sure. Well, it's been the sort of go-to, hasn't it, recently? Travis Etienne's been doing his work on the ground, but Trevor Lawrence has been throwing that ball about. And the Titans are a bit banged up. I think Derrick Henry's back, but they're down to Joshua Dobbs, their sort of third-string quarterback. But Ryan Tannehill's on injured reserve, and they've not gone with a rookie, Malik Willis, who they drafted. They think in a one-off game right now to win, that Josh Dobbs is their man. And I think it probably gives them a better option throwing the ball. But obviously, we know they're all about Derrick Henry here. If Derrick Henry can have a massive game, it'll lead them, on the right path to winning this game. But I think he fumbled a couple of times again in this previous matchup, and the Jags have been fairly good against the run recently.
Yeah.
So for me, everything's with the Jags. I think it's theirs to lose at the minute. And yeah, just looking at the line, -6.5 a minute, I can see it's. Can I win by a touchdown? I probably can, because I just think they've got more explosive plays in them. So yeah, for me, it's the Jags here. And I would go overs, because I think it might start tight, but as things go on, I can see, points being needed. Maybe Joshua Dobbs interception, Jaguars. Yeah, so I'm looking Jags and overs, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game.
Will be a good game, won't it, Bish? And I think my one to add to that, Bish, is that Tennessee are actually the worst team against the tight end position in the league. So I think I've got Evan Engram getting an anytime touchdown here, Bish. I don't know. Are we allowing best bets not in the 6 o'clock slate, Bish? I know that's really, so I've not added it, but yeah, fun one for you there for viewers watching. Evan Engram anytime touchdown. Tennessee can't stop the tight end position for whatever reason. They're terrible against them. So yeah, get on Evan Engram to get a touchdown. Should be
2-1. 2-1 is the price on Evan Engram.
Bish, I'm on it. Brilliant. Get myself some money for this weekend, and I'll be having some fun. Bish, we're on. It's time, Bish. Let's have it. We'll go first to the man of the hour, Bish, if you don't mind. The man who's been making everyone the money. The man who's been messaging, who we're getting messages about every day. It's Tag's touchdown treble. Tag, you've done us right 2 weeks in a row, Tag. Let's make it free. Come on.
Yes, we talk about teams hitting the playoffs hot, and Tag is red hot right now. So
yeah. He's the Cincinnati of the betting world at the moment.
He's gone with Najee Harris. That's the running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. And Josh Allen, quarterback.
He likes them ones. I know he likes the quarterback touchdown.
A quick look. The best price I could see on that was just under 11-1. So it's 10.8-1. So let's go. Hat-trick time.
3 in a row, Tag. And that's doable as well. One of them, that's very doable. I think, I like it, Tag. We'll, for the viewers, obviously, we'll get that out. We'll get the nice graphic that we normally do, and we'll give you a shot for Tag's touchdown treble. But Bish, I'm interested in this week. Bish's best bets. Let's have it.
Oh, it's been tough, and like I said, those lines have hurt me not being out. But I'm gonna stick with the Miami Dolphins, although it's swung. I'm gonna stick with Miami Dolphins -3.5. And then a rare one here you don't see often. I'm gonna go Browns at Steelers. I'm gonna take the unders, under 40 points.
Wow, that is rare for old Bish Quake. That is rare.
And the last one, I'm gonna have to gamble without seeing the line. I'm gonna go Tyler Algier overs on his rushing yards.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's not out yet, but I'm gonna go with that one.
Brilliant. No, like it, Bish. Yeah, we'll get it out, and like you said, you can see all. I think you can see all them three happening pretty well. So. Bish, I'm a bit down on my luck at the moment, Bish. Let's end the season on a high for me. You've done well. Tag's obviously done phenomenal the past 2 weeks, and I need a good week, Bish. So that means I'm going to play it quite safe. I know that that doesn't sound right, does it? Normally I go big, and they've just not come off for me the last couple of weeks. I did all right at the start. I kept consistent, and then I fell off a cliff. So I'm going to play it safe, Bish. My first Joe me the money, let's make you some money, is Tyreek Hill touchdown, anytime touchdown. Like I said, I think he's a big game player. I think they'll be looking to him a lot. The rookie quarterback, they'll be looking for someone who's open, who's explosive, who can guarantee him a play, and Tyreek's going to be that man. Second one, Bish. I have got a double, but I'm pretty confident in my double. I've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +4, and also Tom Brady on his overs for his my brain's just gone, for his passing yards. Sorry, Bish. Early in the morning, not had my coffee yet. I apologise for getting that one. I've got Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers +4. Tom Brady over his passing yards. I think the bookies, from what I've read into the other ones, are going large on these players who might not be playing a full game. I.e., I'm going off the Nick Chubb one where they're capping him at 50, and I think they'll probably be trying to get ahead and thinking smart here. Where I think they might have. I think Brady will go large on this one. As I said, guarantee himself an over 500 season, and get his friends, as he normally does, a load of incentives. So yeah, got Brady, Buccaneers all over that one. I think I've never been more confident in a bet in Tampa Bay +4, and to make it a bit fun, we'll add Brady's in there. Then my third one, Bish, I've been going back and forth, and between a couple really, but I'm gonna do a double here, Bish. I'm going to do the Indianapolis Colts at -2.5, doubled with the New Orleans Saints at -3.5. I've gone against it. I've gone against all my notes because I can't do a Deion Jackson, Zach Moss touchdown double. I'm not. I want some wins here, Bish, and I couldn't play it boring and just pick one. It's not my style, Bish. It's not boring. Yeah. I like spice. I do. I've got to be honest. I've got to keep some spice. So I'm going to go a double of Colts and Saints for this one. Two ones that I think both will be looking to win. Both can win quite easily against two teams that have struggled this season. So yeah, there you go, Bish. What do you think? Do you think I can do it?
I think you played it down by going safe, and you've gone big.
That is my safe, Bish. That is my.
But no, I like it. Like you said, let's try and finish strong. You know, let's Tag's been doing well, so let's both of us come home and look forward to cheering him in on the live show.
Brilliant, yeah, leads us in. 8th of January, we're back on a day tomorrow now for us, Bish. Probably for the viewers, either tomorrow or the same later in the day. 8th of January, RedZone Live returns. We've got a special guest. Can we announce it, Bish? It's the man himself, the man of the hour. It's Tag. Scott Taylor will be joining us live.
He's waited till he's built up some momentum, so he's going to walk in like Conor McGregor.
Tag, the only thing I don't like is you can't pick and shoot. You can't come when you're in. You can't come when you're up and then go missing when you're not. But fair enough. We're happy to see Tag. All three of us will going to be going through debates. We've got a load of lists. We'll be going over our playoff favourites, bets to look at throughout the playoffs. If there's any good bets going into the playoffs, wins, who makes it, how far. That we'll be going over it all. We'll be going over debates from the season, from past years. We'll be having loads of fun, maybe a couple of beers. I think my dad, Show Me the Money himself, will be hosting the night, giving us all the questions, giving us views. So please, like, share, and subscribe this. Get the news out. Get everyone watching with us. It's the final red zone of the season. Get on with us, whether you're massive into NFL or not. I think it'd be a good watch. It's a Sunday after New Year's. You probably won't be doing anything crazy. You'll still be recovering. So come watch the Red Zone with us and have a laugh with all of us. Bish, last one in it, still the giveaway. We're going to add to the giveaway, Bish, aren't we? We're going to add that. We're going to go over questions live on the show. As you go over questions or give us your best bets on the show, we'll do it just before Red Zone hits. Just before that 6 o'clock or after, depending on what we feel like. But whichever one hits, we'll look over the past ones. We've had some messages on them, so I want to give fair to the messages of people who have messaged us directly. So we've got a couple. Let's do some live, and we'll hit it hard, and someone will win 2 tickets to any Super League game of their choice this year, Bish.
Yeah, great prize, like you said. Also, questions, get your questions in as well. Like you said, we've got Tag on. You've got myself and Joe and the postman as well. So any questions, let's get it in and let's have a good debate. Let's have a good chat.
Brilliant. Yeah, join us, get your opinions in. Again, like, share, subscribe. Let's smash this final week. We're gonna hit it harder than ever next season, Bish, aren't we? I think we're gonna go for it next year, make it even bigger. This has been from the start. We've said this is a testament to figure things out, get through all the pains of figuring things out. We've had technological issues, we've had this issue. We're figuring it out as we go. But I think next season we've gone through most of it now, Bish, so we're going to hit it harder than ever and hopefully grow it into a show that we all love watching on a Friday. What day does this go? On a Friday evening, Saturday morning, right before, even on your Sunday before RedZone. We'll kill it for next year as well.
And there'll be fantasy football as well knocking about next year, so look out for the links for that. That'll a bit more on the live show probably and through the summer. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So test yourself, and I think there's a big cash prize in there as well, been guaranteed. So yeah, make sure you're in on that and look out for that.
We're excited for that. Yeah. So yeah, brilliant, Bish. Been a pleasure as always. Again, like, share, subscribe. Final statement, Bish.
Yeah, it's been a great season. Let's finish with a big one. Let's go 9 out of 9 and celebrate those wins.
Brilliant. All right. See you Sunday, Bish.
Take care.